This is the Ford EXP. When Ford introduced this car and its Mercury look-alike, the LN7, in 1981, it was said they were making a major bid for the personal-size two-seater car market, and so they were. But not for the first time. Ford has been down the two-seater road once before, and it happened almost 30 years ago. In the mid-1950s, the great-grandfather of our second road test subject hit the streets. Only then, the great-grandfather had just two seats. Ford's better idea at the time, according to them, was to build, quote, a cross between a factory sports car, a factory hot rod, and a factory custom car, unquote. What they came up with was this. This is the first Thunderbird. It was introduced on September the 9th, 1954. This 55 T-Bird was considered a milestone in car design, and it still is. It was one of the first cars to use a long front hood and a short trunk, a style that's still influencing car designers today. In 1955, there was considerable controversy over whether or not the T-Bird was really a sports car. It didn't handle as well as its nearest rival, the Corvette, yet it easily outsold the Corvette. Why? Well, Ford was after a different market. While the Vet mainly appealed to the macho set, Ford knew that women were becoming a sizable marketing force. Ford's response to this new market was a rather refined personal sports car. And what did $2,944 buy in 1955? Well, a two-seat convertible with a 292 cubic inch V8 and a three-speed manual or automatic transmission. The body was all steel with a full frame. That means 2,890 pounds, rather heavy for sports car circles. And while the T-Bird wasn't really nimble in the corners, it did cover the quarter mile in under 18 seconds, and that wasn't bad for 1955. The 56 T-Bird was caught in the middle of the Detroit horsepower wars. It had a 312 cubic inch, 225 horsepower engine. The 56 Bird also debuted another feature that became almost a cliche with the custom car crowd, the Continental Kit. In an effort to provide more trunk space, the spare tire was put into this spare tire case on a long bumper. After the minor sheet metal changes of the 56 T-Bird, the 57 received a major restyling and another dose of high-performance vitamins. An optional Paxton supercharger boosted some 57 T-Birds to over 340 horsepower, and that was a lot. The 57 T-Bird was the last of the two-seater Thunderbirds. While the 55 through 57 Birds easily outsold the Corvettes, Ford wanted more. They figured that by making the Thunderbird a luxurious four-seater from 1958 on, even more people would join the flock. And they were right. The four-seater T-Bird made sales soar, but it also meant the end of a major chapter in Ford auto history. Since then, Ford has talked about producing another small two-seat Thunderbird, but so far no action. Like the swallows returning to Capistrano, the annual speculation has once again cropped up, this time that the 1984 Thunderbird might include a two-seat sporty car option, but as usual, it looks like it's only talk. Well, it's been a long time since 1957, and the Thunderbird has migrated far and wide from its origins. No longer a sports machine, it's evolved into a personal luxury car that other makers have tried to copy. In 1980, a few feathers were plucked in Detroit's current favorite sport, downsizing, and what's left you're about to see. For 1982, as during most of its history, the Ford Thunderbird is available in only one body style, an elegant two-door coupe. But the real flavor of any Thunderbird is left up to the buyer. You can fly coach with a base price of $9,700, or you can add enough options to break the $15,000 price barrier, as with our test car. Styling of the current T-Bird has not been very popular with Ford's public. Despite extensive wind tunnel work to round out fenders and reduce drag, the upright grille and chromed headlight doors convey a far too boxy appearance. On its better side, however, much of that sharpness disappears into more elegant, slightly arched lines and the traditionally formal landau roof. But for the casual observer, the best treats lie on the inside. Now remember, this is a high-priced car. Seats are covered in leather, with power adjustments to fit most any driver. And the dash, wood trim, chrome strips and all, is fully electronic. In the center is a trip computer that will keep your company occupied with more time, distance, and fuel statistics than you thought existed. The driver is faced with an electronic gas gauge and speedometer that can be set to either miles or kilometers per hour. Unfortunately, the message ends there, since other engine operations are only monitored by a long row of warning lights. If you're unlucky enough to be a backseat driver, you have no such toys, and not enough knee room either. Apparently, all the room went into the trunk. For a mid-sized car, it's quite spacious. Our normal set of 4 bags settled comfortably on a carpeted floor, with a carpet-covered temporary spare tire for companionship. Since most Thunderbird owners aren't likely to perform their own repairs, the engine compartment seems meant mostly for quick checks. Even to do that, you have to prop up the hood, as it's not counterbalanced. The right side is covered with hoses and wires that make half of this V8 spark plugs very difficult to reach. On the left side, they've cleaned up their act. Dipsticks, oil filters, spark plugs, and almost all normal check items are exposed and simple to service. Speaking of engines, T-Birds can be had with either a 3.3-liter inline 6-cylinder, a new 3.8-liter V6, or, as in our case, a 4.2-liter V8. We found this small 8 very smooth, and likewise the excellent 4-speed overdrive automatic. Ride was firmer than expected, but handling was also a pleasant surprise. Thanks to the optional TRX suspension and tire package, this is the best handling Thunderbird ever. The proof in that pudding came in our low-speed handling course. Entering the slalom at 35, the quick power rack and pinion steering made fast work of each hurdle. Body roll and some front-end plowing were reminiscent of old luxury-only T-Birds, but the improvement was amazing. Exit speeds were 40 and above, and any tendency for the rear end to swing wide was well controlled by the sticky Michelin tires. However, when swinging wide in an accident avoidance maneuver, that souped-up suspension really had its springs full. The sheer weight of this 3,600-pound bird means a lot of momentum to moderate. And if you have to backtrack, you'll have to find a broad street to do it. A very wide 42-foot turning circle was required. That's 3 feet wider than the full-size Ford LTD. With so many power-robbing accessories and an engine only 2/3 the size of the design limit of the car, it's not surprising that this T-Bird is no road runner. 7.1 seconds elapsed while accelerating from 40 to 55 on our passing test. That is slow. From a standing start, it also took a long 10.6 seconds to gain a slow 50 miles per hour in our 500-foot stoplight-to-stoplight dash. And just to make sure that at the upper limits there wasn't some extra power to be missed, our quarter-mile run produced a fair-to-poor 20-second time and a non-breakneck speed of 67 miles per hour. If a luxury car means anything, it usually means quiet. A sound level reading of 67 at a constant 55 miles per hour was proof enough for us. On the other hand, most luxury cars don't deliver outstanding mileage. The EPA rates this Thunderbird at 17 city, 26 highway. Our test results produced a combined figure of 22. Styling aside, the 1982 Thunderbird is one of the better Detroit combinations of pure luxury and willing, if not stellar, handling. It's a shame, though, that there wasn't much power to go along with it. Next year, Ford promises to render some of the ugly duckling looks history, and the rumor of a turbo T-Bird is also making the rounds. So maybe, if we're lucky, we'll soon find a T-Bird just right for those of us who like luxury, but don't want to forget that driving can also be fun.